All right, let's play a little game of detective today. We are tackling a household mystery that absolutely everyone faces at some point, the dreaded clogged drain. It's frustrating, it's messy, and honestly, it always seems to happen at the worst possible time, right? Usually right before you have guests coming over or when you're rushing out the door to work. But hey, here's the good news. A clogged drain is a completely solvable mystery as long as you know exactly what clues to look for. Think of your plumbing system kind of like an active crime scene. When something goes wrong, it leaves behind a really specific trail of evidence. You see, not all clogs are created equal, and they definitely don't all start in the same place. So in this explainer, we're going to decode exactly what your pipes are trying to tell you.
So, we need to start our investigation by looking really closely at the scene of the crime. And here is the million-dollar question. Is just your sink clogged, or is your whole house backing up? Picture this. You walk into your bathroom, the water isn't draining, and your first instinct is probably to panic, right? Or maybe you just blindly reach for the plunger and go to town. But hold on, take a step back. You've got to figure out the true scale of the problem right away. Are we talking about a lone rogue drain acting up, or is your entire plumbing system crying out for help?
Okay, let's break this down into the macro versus the micro of home plumbing. We basically have two very distinct profiles here. On one side, we have the whole home signal. This is a massive system-wide failure where you've got multiple fixtures backing up all at once. Not good. Then on the other side, we have the one area problem, which is a highly localized annoyance where just one specific drain is giving you grief. Understanding this contrast is literally the foundation of our detective work today. The stakes, the potential damage, and most importantly, the required solutions are vastly different depending on which pattern you're looking at. If you misdiagnose the scale of the problem, well, you could actually end up making things a whole lot worse.
Section 1. Suspect 1. The localized culprit.
Let's formally introduce the very first suspect in our plumbing lineup, the branch line. So, what is it? A branch line is basically those smaller, narrower pipes that connect your individual fixtures, or maybe a small group of them, like say a vanity sink and a shower, directly into the main line. If you think of your home's plumbing system like a giant tree, the branch lines are exactly what they sound like, the smaller branches reaching out to specific leaves. Because they serve such a narrow section of your home, and frankly because they're physically narrower pipes, they are super susceptible to blockages. Plus, these lines feature P-traps. You know those curved sections of pipe right under your sink? P-traps are brilliantly designed to hold a little bit of water to stop terrible sewer gases from leaking into your house. But unfortunately, that sharp bend is also the absolute perfect spot for hair and gunk to get snagged.
Now, the clues pointing to a branch line clog are highly specific. You're going to see slow drainage, sure, but only on one fixture. You might even notice some funky odors, but they'll be concentrated near just one single room. Imagine a sour, rotting smell hovering right over your kitchen drain, while the rest of the house smells completely fine. Another classic branch line clue? Temporary relief from plunging. If you've got a stubborn bathroom sink, you grab a plunger, give it a few good pumps, and it momentarily clears up. That is a textbook hallmark of a localized issue. Why does that happen? Well, the plunger is creating a localized vacuum inside that small pipe, aggressively pushing and pulling the water to dislodge the nearby jam. So, if plunging gets things moving again, even just briefly, boom, you've successfully localized your culprit.
Moving on to Section 2, Suspect 2, the systemic culprit.
Now let's shift gears and talk about our second and frankly much more intimidating suspect, the main line. The main line is the massive sewer or septic pipe that carries absolutely all the waste from your home out to the municipal sewer or your private septic system. Going back to our tree metaphor for a second, this is the trunk. This is the central bottleneck where every single drop of water and everything else flushed down any drain in your house eventually converges. Because of its structural critical role, when something chokes this pipe, it is a major event. And just to raise the stakes even higher, main lines are usually buried deep underground in your yard, or they're encased beneath your concrete foundation. They are totally, completely inaccessible for a quick DIY fix.
When a main line gets blocked, the symptoms are incredibly aggressive. We are no longer dealing with just one annoying sink here. A mainline clog gives you slow drainage or aggressive backups across several fixtures, all at the exact same time. Your toilet, your shower, your sink, they might literally all be failing simultaneously. Another huge red flag? Widespread gurgling sounds. See, when water goes down a drain, it pushes air in front of it. If the main line is blocked, that trapped air has nowhere to go. It can't escape down the pipe, so it gets forced backward. It bubbles up right through the water in your P-traps, creating that ominous horror movie gurgling noise. And unlike our branch line suspect, a main line clog will fiercely resist any plunging efforts. You might get a split second of relief, but the backups will happen again immediately, simply because you can't generate enough vacuum pressure to move an obstruction buried that deep inside such a massive pipe.
Section 3.
The interrogation, matching causes to clues.
All right, let's compare our everyday household repeat offenders with the really heavy-duty systemic threats. On the localized branch line side, we're talking about things like hair, sticky soap scum, food particles in the kitchen, and, oh boy, those notoriously deceptive flushable bathroom wipes. The crazy thing about flushable wipes is that they don't actually break down like regular toilet paper does. They stay intact, they act like tiny little fishing nets in your pipes, catching debris and creating these sticky localized jams. Now switch gears to mainline causes. These are the heavy-duty, large-scale obstructions. We are talking massive tree root intrusions. Tree roots naturally seek out moisture and nutrients, and they will literally crush right through tiny hairline cracks in your sewer pipes just to get inside. You've also got years of heavy grease accumulation that can cement the pipes shut from the inside out, or just dense sediment buildup. The contrast here is really clear. Everyday items cause the local jams, while environmental and systemic issues choke the entire house.
Okay, pause. Before we talk about how to actually fix these issues, I need to give you a very firm detective's warning. Avoid overdoing chemical drain cleaners. Seriously, when you're right in the middle of a plumbing mystery and you aren't exactly sure where the clog is located, pouring harsh, over-the-counter chemicals down the drain is basically tampering with the evidence. Not only do these chemicals rarely work on those deep mainline clogs we just talked about, but they are incredibly dangerous. They actually create intense heat reactions inside the pipe. That heat can warp modern PVC plumbing or crack older, brittle cast iron pipes. What started as a simple $50 clog could easily turn into a multi-$1,000 pipe replacement nightmare just because of the chemicals. Step away from the drain cleaner until you know exactly what you're dealing with.
Section 4. The verdict. How to resolve the case.
All right, we've gathered our clues, we've identified our culprits, and now it's time to actually match the fix to the problem. If the evidence points to a branch line good news, you're generally in DIY territory. Start with the least invasive option. Use a plunger that actually matches the fixture, like a bell-shaped flange plunger for toilets and a traditional flat-cut plunger for sinks or tubs, just to make sure you get a proper seal. If that fails, step it up to a targeted drain snake or a hand auger. But if you are looking at a mainline fix, meaning frequent backups across multiple fixtures, your DIY efforts are officially over. You need heavy artillery. Professional plumbers will use high-tech sewer cameras, feed them down the pipe, and visually confirm the exact location and nature of the blockage. Once they find it, they'll usually use hydrojetting. Hydrojetting uses ultra-high pressure water to literally pressure wash the inside of your pipes, slicing right through thick tree roots and blasting away calcified grease blocks. Trust me, leave the main lines to the pros.
So what is your game plan the very moment a clog strikes your home? Step 1. Become the observer. Really watch the pattern of symptoms across your fixtures. Are we dealing with the macro whole home signal or the micro one area problem? Step 2. If the issue is highly isolated to just one spot, go ahead and try plunging. You're very likely just dealing with a simple branch line jam. Step 3. This is the golden rule right here. Stop all DIY attempts and call a licensed plumbing professional immediately if multiple drains fail at once, or, heaven forbid, if raw sewage starts rising into your lower-level tubs or showers. That is a mainline emergency and literally every second counts.
If there's one ultimate rule to take away from this explainer, it's this. Use the symptom pattern to guide your next step, then choose the fix that matches the line you're likely dealing with. You honestly don't have to be a master plumber to correctly diagnose your home's drainage drama. You just have to let the symptom pattern be your guide. Let the physical clues dictate your response, and I promise you, you'll save yourself an enormous amount of time, a ton of money, and a whole lot of unnecessary mess. I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up today. If your drains started gurgling today, like right now, are you prepared to track down the true culprit before disaster strikes? Knowing the crucial difference between a minor branch line hiccup and a major mainline failure truly empowers you to act quickly, safely, and correctly. So, keep your eyes open, listen closely to the clues your pipes are giving you, and always trust the pattern. Happy sleuthing, everyone!